Hey guys, what's up? Christine Steele, the High Level Queen, and today I have an exclusive interview with Ross Williams. He is here to talk to us about personal branding. Hey Ross,
Hey, Christine, how are you? Thanks for having me.
thank you so much for being here. So, as you know, probably personal branding is very, very important, but it's not something that I really get into. So, I'm really excited to have you on here to talk about the importance, not only the importance of building a personal brand, but like how do we do that? So to start off, can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how did you get into this space?
Yeah, my name is Ross Williams. Thank you for the introduction. I actually started my journey as a outside sales rep in the beauty supply business. And what's interesting about that is I was able to bring many brands to market. I worked for a distributor, so manufacturers would come to us to launch their new brands. I would take them out into the field, sell them to hair salons, and then the hair salons would sell them to the public. So we were one of these distributors that would bring on new brands constantly. We were called like the pioneer distributor. So companies would come to us who basically are startups, a lot of them mom and pops, and we'd go out there to the field. Nobody's ever heard of them. Maybe it's new technology even, and we'd push it out to the field. What was interesting about that is a lot of these brands, I got to see what made them win, what made them lose. I
Mm.
also got to see these massive brands, how much money they were losing, and because they were so big, they didn't even know it. And so that was interesting to see these massive brands that are so big, they're making mistakes left and right because it takes so long to fix those mistakes, where the startup brands could make changes really quick and grow and dominate. And many of these startup brands became actually now world leading hair care brands that all of you would know by name. And I was in this unique position where I could actually have conversations with the owners of the manufacturers. I worked for the distributor, and while I was selling it to the reseller, their customers were in there, and get to talk to them too. So I was able to see all four touch points of this process and take feedback from the customers or the stylists or salon owners back to the owners, who then could make changes so that our distribution could work better and we get better sales there. And what's cool about that is I got to see mistakes that these brands make, and things that they did right along the way. So taking a lot of that process that I learned there over 17, 20 years and applying it into the digital marketing world that I've been doing now for about 7 or 8 years, has been really interesting. So that's kind of how my path led to this. And just kind of by accident, from all the things I learned in that process, I got into personal branding and took the skill sets of creating these number one global retail brands and turning that into personal brands online.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm curious about like what was the number one mistake that you saw being made that people should avoid when they're trying to create a brand?
So, one thing is people assume a brand, first of all, is just logos, fonts, and colors. And that is literally just the gift wrapping. So what a
Mhm.
brand truly is, it's everything about you. When we're talking about personal brands, it's everything about you, how people perceive you, how you make them feel, the experience they get, from start to finish. So, and I'd like to use this as an example. Do you have a friend that's who's always late, like never shows up on time? You would, if you had to be on time, you wouldn't count on them to be there with you.
Yeah, they're in my family, actually.
Yeah, so I think everyone's got at least one friend who you will never count on to be on time.
Yeah.
That being late is part of their brand, right?
Hmm.
So you probably also have a friend who's always 30 minutes early. This is me at my family functions. If
Yeah.
our parties start at 4, my family will tell me they start at 4:30 so that I show up on time, instead of, because otherwise and then we used to have to tell my grandma the opposite. If it started at 4, we tell her 3. They tell me
Yep.
4:30, and then everyone get there at 4, right? Because that was part of my brand, was I was the guy who showed up early. So
Yep.
everything you do becomes part of your brand, and that doesn't make it good or bad, but it does affect who you attract. and how people perceive you and respond to you. So we have to take a lot of those things into consideration when we look at our brand. It's not just about colors, fonts, and logos. It's about that whole perception that you feel. So we really got to think about what's inside the gift wrapping that you're presenting to people that makes the biggest impact.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. That is really important. I think probably a lot of people would not even think about being a direct reflection on themselves. Like, oh, if I'm late, that's my brand. And then my brand is I'm late all the time, right?
Yep. And are you funny? Are you loud and obnoxious, or are you soft spoken and quiet? Are you projectorous, or are you more of a listening kind of all of these things coordinate into your brand. And what's really important is that someone is authentic to their true self. So I see a mistake a lot of online for personal brands people make is they'll see an influencer that they love and that they follow, and they'll try to mimic that person, and it's not natural for them. So they end up either A, not attracting followers, or B, they attract followers who don't really jive with them. So they don't end up buying because they're not projecting their authentic self. They're almost acting, right? They're putting themselves in an acting role because they see these successful people doing the thing. So they do the same thing. And reality is, if it's not natural to you, then it's not going to come off the same way and attract the right audience. So you want to attract people that are attracted to your authentic self, not the person you're pretending to mimic. Does that make sense?
Which kind of goes against all of the like alternate persona advice floating around there, right?
Well, a lot of people, fake it till you make it. And
Yeah.
is that what you're referring to? Or
Well, that and like, there's several books that talk about if you're shy and you're quiet, then develop this alternate persona when you're reflecting your business. And that way you're able to do things that you're not normally able to do.
So there is a fine line between pushing yourself to learn new skills and get comfortable with things you're currently not comfortable with, and not being yourself, right? So it's one thing if you're shy and you want to push yourself to get out there more, but if you're shy, people who are extremely boisterous are probably not going to buy from you, or if they do, they're not going to have an experience that they enjoy. But someone else who's shy, and you guys can go through this process as shy people together, right? You're going to attract those people that vibe with you, and they have the
Yes.
same energy as you, and that's going to create a better experience. So I'm not saying don't push yourself, don't do new things that you're uncomfortable with. I'm saying
Yeah.
don't try to be somebody else, right?
Right.
So you can slowly learn how to be less shy and overcome your fears and be better at be more comfortable with things, but you're not faking it. You're not trying to be something you're not. And when I say that, I'm not saying someone's intentionally trying to deceive people, but they're seeing this person and this person's being successful doing things. So they're trying to mimic those people instead of doing what's natural for them. So it's just real important that you're authentic to yourself when it comes to building a personal brand.
Right. Yep, that makes sense. So, Ross, tell me a little bit about like if people want to learn more, they want to get involved, maybe they feel like they're building their business in their basement and they're doing everything alone. What do they need to do? Like, how do they come out of their shell and meet people and get advice from people who are actually being successful in what they want to do?
Yeah, so I actually think that one of the ways to do that is to go to live events. I know in our industry, especially in the digital marketing and entrepreneur world, we do have a lot of people who sit behind the computer all day, and they're introverts. They're not comfortable getting out there and doing things. And I have found that going to live events helps them break that barrier. And when you go to the live event, don't go to your hotel room, don't go to the conference and after the speeches you go straight to your hotel room, right? Go hang out in the lobby. If there's a networking party, go to that. Go hang out at the lobby bar, shake hands with people in the hallways. You'll find, again, the same thing. You'll find those people that are authentic to you, and you guys will naturally match up. You'll develop these friendships, and then you can continue to build that network. But if I recommend just getting out there, going to a networking event, go to a marketing conference or whatever business you're in, go to that conference and get to know people. That's really going to help you to get out of your shell and grow your network, which will help you grow in other ways too.
That's how we met.
Yes, we met at I believe it was Funnel Hacking Live in Nashville, and I was at lunch with a couple friends who invited a couple friends, and those people invited a couple friends, and we ended up sitting at the same lunch table. I think there's about 8 or 10 people, and and so we met literally because you were friends with somebody that I knew, and we all had lunch together.
Yeah, and that was like 4 years ago.
It was more than 4 years ago.
4.5 years. Well, that was
it was
January of 2020.
2019. So was it 5 years ago or 6 years ago? I think it was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Which is crazy because honestly, like from my standpoint, I've always been a shy person. Okay. And like I was trying to do the whole build the business by myself in my basement type of thing. I was literally in my basement. And then I started going to events and coming out of my shell and like meeting people and making meaningful connections. And it's quite odd now because when people find out that I'm actually introverted, they're like, no, you're not. Like they argue with me about it. And I'm like, no, I actually am. I just like came out of my shell because of events and because of meeting amazing people. So, Ross, tell me a little bit about, you've had this amazing cruise for like 3 years, right?
I've done 3 of them. COVID kind of put a gap between the first one and the second one. So I think it's actually been, this is going on 5 years, but this will be our 4th cruise because COVID made us kind of skip a year and a half in the middle there.
Yeah. So, okay. So when I first found out about you, I actually found out about your cruise first. Okay. Which goes back to the personal branding being so
before we met.
Yeah. And it was like 2 weeks after the cruise ended or something. I don't know. It was like right after the end of your cruise. And I was so mad because I missed it. I was like, I missed my opportunity to be on a boat with these people and hang out with them and get to know them and, you know, all the fun stuff. And so I was really glad when we kind of resumed normal life and you were able to do your cruise again. And then I was able to, I can't do it backwards. So like we both have these in the background, but I got these from speaking on your last or your first two, not first two.
The last two.
Before and the last, yes. I can't talk today. So I'm hoping that, like, I love the people that you attract. I love your crew and your audience. And I'm hoping that other really amazing people that we haven't gotten the chance to meet yet are going to come. So would you tell us a little bit about your cruise? What are we going to be talking about? What are we going to be doing? And like, what's your favorite part about it?
Yeah. So one of the things that actually is the whole reason I put this together is kind of what you were talking about earlier is, I noticed that there's a lot of people in our industry that are introverts. There's also a lot of extroverts, but I think our industry, because people work alone, they work from home, we do tend to have a lot more introverts than other industries. And I wanted to make a way for them to feel comfortable getting out of their shell where it's like risk-free environment. And so I actually find that our ship, we on the cruise, we get a lot of people that are extroverts, we get a lot of introverts, but by the end of it, the introverts are like, oh my God, you made this so easy for me to actually connect and meet people. My anxiety was gone. I didn't have any. I made friends. And then all the extroverts were like, oh my God, everyone's so amazing. So it really appeals to all people, whether you're introvert or extrovert. But the reason I put it together was when I used to go to these conferences, I would notice that unless you were really, really aggressive, at networking or trying to meet people, for instance, the speakers would go on stage, they do their 20-minute presentation, they'd either immediately hop on a plane and get out of town, or they'd go sit in the back VIP room, never get to talk to anybody. But I was like, man, what if we created an experience where people could have dinner with every speaker before it was over, where people could actually sit down on a catamaran sailboat and talk, where the speakers actually hung out. So I made it my venture to kind of put together this opportunity, and I decided to do it on a cruise ship. So I developed the Modern Profits Cruise, which is a great event for us. We spend about 3 hours a day in the conference room, where I have 10 to 12 expert speakers teach on different topics, from marketing, sales, offers, operations, everything you need to know, no matter what business or industry or niche you're in. It's stuff that applies to every business. But once we leave that conference room, each day we have different excursions where, if you're sitting on a catamaran sailboat and going snorkeling with other speakers or other 7-figure earners, you're going to be able to talk shop and really build strong relationships. A lot of times joint ventures, partnerships, or sometimes clients, sometimes best friends happen. So it's creating this experience that really becomes life-changing, because people aren't there just to get a new client. They're there to build lifelong relationships and partnerships, and all these things come out of it. So I actually, at night too, I have the speakers all sit at different tables, and then all the guests will rotate tables every night. So by the end of the week, they've literally had dinner with every speaker. So what I tried to do was create the perfect blend of education in the conference room, networking, and experience, because I find when people share experiences together, it accelerates their relationship building process, that connection.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's one of my favorite parts about your events in particular is, well, number one, that everyone has a fair chance to eat with the speakers. And that's something that I've felt like every single event, the speakers either, like you said, they take off after they speak and you never get to see them again, or they hang out with each other. And like you do a really good job of being like, guys, don't do that, because everyone needs to have a chance to talk to you. And I was gonna say, and we just did a live on your channels about one of my favorite parts about your cruise in particular is the opportunity to network with people who are doing what you want to do, but also like bounce ideas off of each other, come up with business ideas. And that day that we were at Coco Cay,
Okay, the private island.
perfect day, whatever. Yeah. We were in the pavilion and we were just hanging out. And Stephanie and I like came up with a brand new business idea to do together with Michelle. And we're like gonna start a podcast, we're gonna do all this and that. And like we were using Chat GPT and coming up with like business
You're
names.
building a business on the beach.
On the beach, getting drinks, like, you know, they were bringing us drinks. So it was actually really, really cool. And I'm looking forward to it this year as well. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, but I will be there as well. So if you want to meet me and you want to meet Ross and you want to meet all these cool people, I'm
Come hang out with us. It's
link down there.
It's a great opportunity. We do keep it intimate. It's only going to be up to 50 entrepreneurs. Every year, my guests beg me, please don't let this get big, because they love the fact that you can leave being best friends with every person that was on that cruise. You really have time to connect with every single person. So definitely check it out. We like to keep it intimate and give you the opportunity to talk to all the speakers, and really, really connect with everybody.
Yeah.
And Christine, I'm so happy you're coming for the third time, and we'll have you on stage again.
Yes. And the other cool thing is you do this every year. And so like we have the same like core people. So if you want to see us every year, just come back the next year. Like it's not like one of those events where you go and then you never ever see those people again. You get to see them like every time.
Yeah, we usually have a good 60% of the people that return each year. And then usually the people that don't, they might come like it's because they're having a baby or something's going on and they miss it. They're texting us daily like, oh my God, I wish I was there. But
Yes.
really it's not a one and done event. It's building a
Yeah.
family and a community where people want to come back and reconnect every year, and they stay in touch all year round too. It's not just we're constantly texting or calling
Mhm.
or helping each other out. So it's a really, really cool community.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, yeah, so check the link down here, guys, for a link to the cruise. And they need to get in soon, right? Because this is a new ship and the rooms are
Yes.
going like quick.
It's a brand new ship by Royal Caribbean, which is super nice ship called Utopia of the Seas. It is absolutely phenomenal. It's brand new. It's set sail next month. It's not even in the sailing yet, but so that's really cool. And because of that, it's very hot. So it's the ship itself is selling out quickly. And once that's gone, it's gone. And then our group space, like I said, we're only 50 people and we're more than 50% sold out already on that. So that means there's only 25 spots left to come join our mastermind. And then it's shops
Yeah.
closed after that, so they can lock it in right now for a $250 deposit if they want to lock it in. All the other pricing, everything's on the website. But yeah, it's important to jump on board now because I know people love waiting to the last minute, but unlike other events where
Yeah.
if the hotel is sold out, you can stay at a hotel down the street. You don't have that option. There's not another hotel down the street. We're one cruise ship. So once our group is sold out, I have to close my doors because we do a lot of private events. We do the Aqua Theater Lounge, which can only hold so many people. We do a private catamaran sailboat, which only holds 50 people. So a lot of the stuff we do is very intimate and it's a small group. So I have to cut it off at 50 people. And then the cruise ship itself, if the cruise ship sells out before we get our 50 people, then we're just going to be less than 50 people. So because it's a hot new cruise ship, that could happen. So definitely jump on board, put your deposit down, lock in your room, and let's go. Let's get on the water and have a good time.
When is it?
The cruise is November 4th to November 8th out of Port Canaveral, Florida. So they would fly into Orlando, Florida, and they can take a Uber or a airport shuttle over to the ports about 45 minutes away and hop on the ship.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, guys. So check out the link down here for a chance to go on the cruise with us. And like Ross said, the rooms are going really quickly because this is a brand new cruise ship. So if you've always wanted to go on one of the brand new cruise ships, it's massive, right? Like it's like huge.
Yeah,
Has like
it's a
a
really
water park.
it's a great ship. I mean, there's literally the high dive swimming pool act that you see in Vegas right there on the cruise ship. It's got rock climbing walls. I think they have the solo surfing waves. I haven't even, no one's been on this ship. It's brand new. But there is a video on the website that you can actually look at the cruise ship. There's a video on the website you can see as like snapshots from last year's cruise. And you can also see the list of all the other speakers that are going to be speaking on board. So you can see who you're going to be hanging out with.
Yeah, you have a really good lineup this year. Really good speaker lineup.
Excited.
I'm unbiased, personally.
Very strong group of people for sure that are coming.
Yes, cool. Okay, guys, so go check it out before we sell out of rooms. And of course, as always, if you use my link, I may receive a commission for that, but no extra cost to you. Ross, thank you very much for being here today. And
thank you for having me.
I am looking forward to your cruise, Ross. I always love hanging out, and I think it's going to be a really good time.
Awesome. I can't wait. And I look forward to seeing some of you out there too.
Let's go. All right. See you.
All right. Bye. We'll talk later.